From the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8.
Now, the latest news.
Kylie Conway has the latest news. The top headlines. News you can use.
Please stand by.
Sponsored by LCS Heating and Cooling. Now, here's Wish TV's Kylie Conway.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is the News 8 Daily 8 for Thursday, October 14th. A mainly dry start to our Thursday is expected. Some isolated showers could be possible for areas near and after sunset today. It's going to be warm again. We're going to rise into the upper 70s. An FDA meeting on Moderna's COVID-19 booster shot is set for today. The Johnson & Johnson booster is on tomorrow's schedule. The idea of mixing shots is also on the table. It could mean millions more boosters are available to Americans. Right now, just the Pfizer booster has emergency use authorization due to the fact that Pfizer has the longest running data. Today, we could hear yay or nay about Moderna's shot, J&J's tomorrow. Wish TV medical expert and former Surgeon General Dr. Jerome Adams says he does expect the FDA to authorize the boosters. He says the data is too compelling that an extra dose helps people fight COVID, especially its variants.
Your choice right now is a choice between the virus and the vaccine. And no matter how much you're fearful of a vaccine, trust me, the studies are clear that it is much worse to be exposed to COVID than it is to be exposed to a vaccine. So I hope people out there who are still hesitant, I hope you'll go out and get your vaccination. I hope if you have questions, you'll ask your doctor or pharmacist or nurse or someone who's trusted.
Only after those two big decisions will the FDA panel talk about the mix and match booster topic, something people are very interested in. Already, there's an online preprint of the National Institutes of Health study that came out yesterday. It says mixing boosters did produce a robust immune response. The study included more than 400 people and has not yet been peer-reviewed or published. It recorded safe, standard immune reactions when people got a COVID-19 booster different from the vaccine they initially received, including crossing from Moderna, Pfizer to J&J, which have different mechanisms. If you are eligible for a Pfizer booster today, the clinic is open from noon to 8 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's in the IndyCar lot across from Gate 2. You can also get your first series of Pfizer or single-dose Johnson & Johnson shot there now through October 30th. And this morning, there is a search for a shooter who killed a man in a neighborhood on the city's southwest side. It happened just after 1 this morning on Fultz Street. That's near Kentucky Avenue and Holt Road. Our mobile news tracker has talked to officers who were there at the scene all morning long. Police told our crew that a person who may have been armed was seen leaving the area just after officers got there. Right now, there's no word on who that person could be, and police say there is not a threat to people in the area. This morning, the city is putting a plan into action in hopes of curbing violence plaguing Indianapolis. The city will use a model from the National Institute for Criminal Justice Reform to implement the program. The model calls for broad support of community-based organizations. It also targets a small number of people and groups who drive the majority of violence. Part of that is hiring 50 peacemakers to engage those people in a positive and trusting manner. The program is set to begin in 2022. As we've reported on Daybreak, Mayor Hogsett unveiled a $150 million plan to invest in public safety in August. It's funded by the American Rescue Plan. And the community is anxious for answers after the discovery of 3 bodies on South Meridian Street near 465. We now know the names of 2 of the victims who were found Wednesday night. Marion County Coroner says 18-year-old Joseph Thomas and 22-year-old Michael James were shot to death. Ryan Gill tells News 8 she is a family friend of Michael James. She says she's been trying to search for answers herself.
Mike, he had a big heart. He was loving. He would do anything for anybody.
The cause of death for the third person hasn't been released. So far, police are not saying anything about a possible suspect either. Steve Bannon's lawyer says the former Trump advisor will not comply with a House Select Committee investigating the January 6th riot at the Capitol. So here's part of the letter to the panel. Mr. Bannon noted that President Trump's counsel stated that they were invoking executive and other privileges and therefore directed us not to produce documents or give testimony that might reveal information President Trump counsel seeks to legally protect. Bannon is scheduled to meet before the committee today. Members declared that if people don't comply, they will be quick to bring charges of criminal contempt. The Select Committee has also issued a subpoena for Jeffrey Clark. The former member of the Justice Department is accused of trying to pressure DOJ leadership to investigate unfounded claims of election fraud. And the Colts may be getting a boost ahead of Sunday's matchup against the Texans in the form of T.Y. Hilton. The veteran wide receiver was back on at practice yesterday. He spent the past 5 weeks on the injured reserve list following his neck surgery. While Hilton hasn't officially been activated yet, head coach Frank Reich says his recovery is ahead of schedule.
Certainly excited to have T.Y. back in the fold and out on the field. You know, obviously that's a big emotional boost to the team, and then obviously it's Houston week, so yeah, probably not a coincidence. Yeah.
So that little chuckle you heard at the end of Reich's comment there, it's in regard to the Ghost having a very impressive record when facing Houston. Hilton has had 8 100-yard games and 11 touchdowns against the Texans. More than 10,000 John Deere workers are on strike after union negotiations fell through. The United Auto Workers say the company failed to meet demands and needs. The union had reached a tentative agreement on a new 6-year contract with John Deere 2 weeks ago. 90% of union members rejected it in a ratification vote. Union and management negotiators talked late into the last night, trying to reach a new deal, but couldn't. The strike shuts down operations at 11 factories and 3 distribution centers. This is the largest private sector strike in the U.S. since the UAW conducted a costly 6-week strike at General Motors 2 years ago. The FDA is changing its voluntary sodium guidelines. Its goal is to lower the average sodium intake to 3,000 milligrams per day in the next 2.5 years. That's about 12% lower than current levels, but still above the American Heart Association's recommendation of 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day. The agency is giving suggestions to reduce how much salt you do take in. The first is to cut back on foods high in sodium, like deli meat, pizza, tacos, soups, and savory snacks. The second is to compare products you buy at the store and get the one with less sodium. The FDA also suggests aiming under the daily value for sodium, a number you can find on nutrition labels. Finally, the agency says experiment with spices and herbs to flavor your food instead of using salt. Norway's security agency says a deadly bow and arrow attack at a supermarket appears to be an act of terrorism. Investigators say the man accused converted to Islam and had been flagged as radicalized before the attack. Police say the man accused confessed to killing 5 people and injuring 2 others, including an off-duty officer. They took him into custody a half hour after the attack yesterday evening. Prosecutors have not announced any official charges yet. The U.S. Attorney's Office and FBI are investigating the IMPD officer accused of stomping on a homeless man's face during an arrest. So that's the big development, that the FBI is now involved. We've reported about it. Sergeant Eric Huxley is charged with official misconduct and battery, resulting in moderate injury. The incident in question happened last month. IMPD Chief Randall Taylor learned about it last week. Chief Taylor has recommended Huxley be terminated, and Huxley is on suspension without pay right now. Actor William Shatner is back on Earth after a historic trip to the edge of space. He describes the experience as something he'll always remember. The 90-year-old Star Trek icon became the oldest person to ever travel to space yesterday. He and 3 others launched from West Texas in Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket. They experienced about 3 minutes of weightlessness before the capsule headed back to Earth. Shatner expressed how moved he was by the gravity of the moment.
I'm so filled with emotion about what just happened. It's extraordinary, extraordinary. I hope I never recover from this.
And guess what? Captain Kirk himself will be joining All Indiana live later today at 4 o'clock to talk about his experience up above the earth. If you are listening to this after 4 o'clock or maybe on a different day, just go to wishtv.com. You can catch that interview. As you just heard him say, he hopes that he never recovers from this trip. So we're hoping to hear a lot of emotions from him. Again, that's live in All Indiana later today at 4. Finally, to business headlines, Americans are trying to carry guns on planes in record numbers. The number of firearms detected at airport checkpoints this year is already the highest in the 20-year history of the Transportation Security Administration. The agency says it has found 11 firearms in carry-on bags per 1 million travelers screened, up from just 5 per million in 2019. U.S. aviation regulators are reviewing a request by Boeing to redesign engine covers on the 777 and the 737 jet models that have led to multiple dramatic failures, including a passenger death in 2018. Bloomberg reports the Federal Aviation Administration is considering Boeing's petitions to make safety improvements on the front of jet engines on the two models. The aviation industry and the public will have 20 days to comment on the FAA's proposal to grant Boeing the exemptions. Delta says the fuel price surge will cause quarterly loss. A 5 cents increase in the price of fuel equates to $40 million in added expense. Delta did just turn in their first profitable quarter since the pandemic. The U.S. likely posted a modest drop in initial unemployment claims last week, bringing the number of those newly unemployed each week back toward their pre-virus pace, I should say. New weekly jobless claims have been inching closer to their pre-pandemic levels over the past several months, reflecting a slowdown in firings, layoffs, and separations as reopenings took place and demand for workers resurged. According to a recent analysis of more than 33 million single-family home and condo sales over the past 8 years conducted by Atom Data Solutions, the best time to close on a house is in October. That's because the premium, which measures the amount you pay for the house compared to the estimated value of the house, is just 2.9%, which is the lowest of the year. That's followed closely by November, December, and January. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
The News 8 Daily 8 is sponsored by LCS Heating and Cooling. Be sure to like and subscribe to this podcast, The News 8 Daily 8 with Kylie Conway. And be sure to discover even more great podcasts now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.